You walk into a room and feel it immediately. The mood, the tension, the emotional weight people are carrying, even when no one has said a word. You notice the shift in someone's tone, the guarded look in their eyes, the atmosphere that hangs quietly between people. Others may tell you that you are too sensitive, that you read too much into things, that you need to relax. But here is what they don't understand. Your nervous system isn't broken. It is operating on a different setting. And there are 8 specific documented reasons why. Understanding them is the first step to actually managing them. Your brain processes sensory information at a deeper level. About 15 to 20% of the human population is born with a trait called sensory processing sensitivity. Researchers identified it in the 1990s, and brain imaging has since confirmed it is real and measurable. When a highly sensitive person sees an emotional face, hears a piece of music, or enters a crowded room, more regions of their brain activate simultaneously. They do not just see the face. They notice the micro expressions, the tension in the jaw, the slight shift in eye contact. They don't just hear the music. They notice every instrument, every subtle change in tone. Their brain is analyzing on multiple levels at once. Evolution has maintained this trait in over 100 species because in environments where subtle cues matter, the highly sensitive individual catches what others miss. The disadvantage is that the same system that notices everything good also absorbs everything hard. While this trait is innate, how it shows up in your life depends heavily on your environment. Your nervous system is stuck in threat detection mode. The brain has a structure called the amygdala. It is the threat detection center. When it senses danger, it fires a signal to the hypothalamus, which floods the body with cortisol and adrenaline. Heart rate rises. Muscles tighten. Attention narrows to anything that might be dangerous. In a healthy system, the amygdala acts as your brain's alarm, detecting potential threats. Just behind your forehead, the prefrontal cortex serves as the decision maker. When the alarm goes off, this part checks. Is this actually dangerous, or is it a false alarm? If it decides you are safe, it tells the amygdala to turn off. Prolonged stress or difficult experiences can disrupt this system. Over time, repeated exposure can rewire how your brain responds. Neuroplasticity is the term for this process, and it works like a muscle. The more a pathway is used, the stronger it gets. The body has been under stress for too long, so the alarm system adapts. It fires faster, sees more things as dangerous, and stays on longer than it should. Think of a smoke detector adjusted to go off at the slightest hint of smoke because in the past, that sensitivity kept you safe. At the same time, the decision maker in your brain gets tired. It becomes less effective at telling the alarm to turn off. So you have an alarm that is too sensitive and a supervisor that is too exhausted to manage it. Your nervous system has been trained by real past experience to expect danger. The system designed to protect you is now running on outdated information. Chronic stress has sensitized your entire system. Cortisol, the primary stress hormone, is useful in short bursts. It sharpens focus, raises alertness, and prepares the body to respond. But when stress is chronic and cortisol remains elevated for weeks or longer, something shifts. Your nervous system adjusts its normal setting upward. What used to feel manageable now feels overwhelming. What used to be background noise is now impossible to ignore. It is like turning up the volume on your sensitivity dial and forgetting how to turn it back down. Chronic stress also affects a part of your brain that acts like a timekeeper. It helps you remember that was dangerous then, but this is safe now. When it is weakened, your brain loses that ability. You can't tell the difference between past danger and present safety. So even in a safe room, your body reacts as if the old threat is still there. The result? A body that has physically restructured itself around constant vigilance. You notice everything because your body has decided that everything could be relevant to survival. The sensitivity did not appear from nowhere. The system was turned up slowly, under pressure, until its new normal became exhausting to live in. Anxiety is scanning for you around the clock. Constant worry does not feel like one specific fear. It feels like everything is slightly wrong and you cannot find the source. The mechanism is constant environmental scanning. Your brain is always checking for danger. When it sees something unclear or neutral, it assumes the worst. A neutral facial expression starts to look like anger. A quiet moment becomes something bad is about to happen. Your brain treats uncertainty like a threat. People with constant worry are not imagining things. Their brains have learned a specific pattern. When something is unclear or uncertain, assume it is dangerous. The scanning never fully turns off. Between conversations during sleep, in the background of every ordinary moment, the system keeps checking. Awareness expands under anxiety because the brain recruits more attentional resources to maintain the surveillance. The cost is exhaustion and an inability to simply be present in a room without monitoring it. You absorb the emotional environment you grew up in. Your nervous system learns its normal setting during childhood. If you grew up in an unpredictable environment where moods changed without warning and you had to read the room to stay safe, your nervous system learned to notice everything. You became a detective, reading every facial expression, every tone of voice, every shift in the room's energy. This hyper-awareness was not a problem back then. It was survival. The problem is that your nervous system never got the memo that you are safe now. It kept that detection system running even though you no longer need it. You are still doing a job that the child needs. The adult no longer does. But the system was never told to stand down. Sleep deprivation has removed your filtering system. Sleep is when your brain cleans the house. It decides what is important to remember and what is just noise. Without enough sleep, your brain can't do this, so everything stays in your attention. When you are sleep deprived, the part of your brain that normally filters and calms things down stops working well. Sounds feel louder. Light feels harsher. Emotions feel more intense. Small things suddenly feel huge. It is like your brain's volume control is broken. Research shows that even a single night of poor sleep measurably increases amygdala reactivity by up to 60%. The threat system becomes more sensitive. The moderating system becomes less effective. Everything feels closer when the filter breaks down. Your interoception is unusually active. Interoception is your brain's ability to sense what is happening inside your body. Your heartbeat, your breathing, tension in your stomach, tightness in your muscles, temperature shifts. Most people notice their body's signals only when they are strong. Some people notice them much earlier, at the very beginning of a shift. It is like having a high-definition microphone instead of a regular one. You pick up everything. This sensitivity means you feel emotions more intensely, but it also means your brain treats small body signals as important. A slight heart flutter becomes something wrong. A small stomach sensation makes me anxious. Your body is constantly sending signals to your brain. Most brains filter them. Yours receives the full version. It is like hearing every sound in a movie, not just the main ones. It is exhausting. You have not been shown that it is safe to stop watching. Hyperawareness is ultimately a protection strategy. It exists because at some point staying alert mattered. Missing something had a cost. The vigilance was rewarded, or at minimum, it felt safer than the alternative. The reason it continues is that no one and nothing has reliably demonstrated that it is safe to let the guard down. Safety isn't just the absence of danger. It is an experience the nervous system has to learn through repeated exposure to situations where threat was expected and didn't arrive, where relaxing didn't lead to harm, where not watching everything still produced a tolerable outcome. Your nervous system has an automatic threat detection system. It isn't controlled by your thinking brain. It doesn't update its settings because you read something convincing. It learns through experience by feeling safe in your body again and again over time. The awareness will not stop until the nervous system has enough evidence that it doesn't need to. That evidence accumulates slowly, and it is entirely possible to build it. The brain that notices too much is the same brain that reads people accurately, catches what others miss, and feels the world at a depth that most cannot access. The cost and the exhaustion are both real, but so is the path forward. If any of these 8 reasons felt familiar, the next step is not to try harder to relax. It is to understand which specific mechanism is driving your awareness and work on that one directly. Therapy approaches like somatic work, EMDR, and cognitive behavioral therapy have documented track records for recalibrating an overactive threat system. Consistent sleep, regulation practices, and safe relational experiences all help the brain build the one thing it is waiting for. Enough evidence that it is safe to stand down. You are not too much. Your settings are just different, and different settings can be adjusted.